To understand how trauma forms in the brain, we need to understand the process by which memories are created. Each characteristic of the memory is recorded in a group of neurons: colors, location, sensations, sounds, smells, emotions, etc. When electricity flows through this network of connections again, each group of neurons is reactivated and puts the different parts of the memory back together to reconstruct the scene. A memory, therefore, exists only in the present moment, when the neurons are reactivated. If the connection pathway changes, so does the memory. If the electricity passing through the memory is too weak to be seen by consciousness, then the brain does not perceive the memory. A memory can therefore be activated and perceived by consciousness, or activated without being perceived by consciousness. The same is true of a trauma, which can remain activated and unconscious for years. Next, let's understand the role of emotions in memorization. The stronger an emotion, the stronger the connection pathway for the memory, because the connections are superactivated and reinforced, whether the emotion is pleasant or unpleasant. Emotions therefore serve to alert the memory to things that are important to remember. Trauma is created when the memory's connection path creates a loop. This looped path traps the electricity that is trapped inside and spins continuously, reactivating groups of neurons in succession. As this loop is connected to other neuron circuits, there is communication between the traumatic memory and other memories of the same type. If we take stress, for example, which is the common point of many memories, they have points of convergence, like central nodes of information. When these nodes are activated by an external or internal element in the brain, they send electricity back to all the attached memories, including the loops of traumatic memories, thus reactivating them. This is known as flashback, or reliving the trauma. You relive the scene as the neuron groups are reactivated. A trauma always exists in the present, no matter when it was created, because it is today's neurons that are reactivated, and which can create stress, fear, and pain in the body. A memory loop can be negative, trauma, or positive. These positive loops, based on our successes, help to create confidence in ourselves, in our learning, and in the future, for example, by reinforcing all the positive things connected to them. Conversely, any unpleasant trauma will reactivate unpleasant emotions and the stress system. Like electricity in a loop, these unpleasant emotions and stress will be created continuously. If trauma loops accumulate throughout our lives, more and more unpleasant emotions and stress are created, which can lead to exhaustion of the body and brain or all kinds of health problems, such as chronic pain, for example. A trauma can have a physical origin, an illness, an accident, an injury, or physical violence, for example, or a psychological origin, an argument, a death, a difficult event, or psychological violence, for example, which were at the origin of the creation of the memory loop. Trauma can be healed. All you have to do is change the way the neurons connect to break the loop. As soon as the loop is broken, the trauma is healed. Revisiting and talking about the trauma without changing what you're feeling now has no positive effect. On the contrary, it reinforces even more the connection pathway of the neurons that are being used and reactivates the trauma. To heal yourself, you need to transform any element of the traumatic memory: a physical sensation, an emotion, an image, a smell. And if you transform several of them, then you heal the trauma even better, because several elements of the loop are changed. Once the traumatic loop has been broken, the brain will have gained freedom because the stress and unpleasant emotions have calmed down, and all the energy saved can be used to do other things. So heal your brain of all the old wounds it has, and become free to use your energy to do what you want in life.